But they had to have this money because they were marked as critical to maintaining national security. So, okay, fine. Fine. It was the pandemic. Everybody needed to get stimulated that were in sectors that were heavily affected. The airlines sector was heavily affected. Fine, we get it. But then, like you say, you fast forward to January now. After you had those instances when you launched this plane and was grounded for a year, you received bailout packages from the taxpayers vis-a-vis the Senate. And in January of this year, you got a window suck out. What are y'all doing over at Boeing? And why is it that you guys keep maintaining these government contracts and these bailouts? You're too big to fail situations. Why? You seem to be more trouble than you're worth.
But this week, NASA announced it's delaying their return to Earth until at least June 26th. Starliner has suffered 4 helium leaks and 5 failures of its thrusters. NASA wants time.
Dude, this is space, and to be honest, I don't know if he was joking. He was probably for real. Elon's like, he'll go get them. SpaceX will go get them. But dog, they talking about leaks. Like, why does this sound like par for the course, yo? Y'all planes do this stuff.
5 failures of its thrusters. NASA wants time to figure out what's wrong.
We want to give our teams a little bit more time to look at the data, do some analysis, and make sure we're really ready to come home.
That means Starliner will spend at least 20 days in orbit for what was supposed to be just a 5-day mission, rocketing up the embarrassment for the beleaguered Boeing and its troubled space program.
Why doesn't it seem to garner the same outrage as individuals, i.e. when we see tiff or allegations with 45, former President Trump? When we see this with individuals, it's bring on the torches and the pitchforks, but with corporations, we seem not to harp on it so much, or we seem not to highlight it so much. And I kind of wonder if it's because we're numb to it when it's a corporation, or is it because they're faceless figures or whatnot. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up, because if you happen to see the thumbnail or the community post and was watching this video because of those, Boeing has just been sanctioned. I say it's about time because I've been watching them all month. They have been effing up all month long. Why is this a big deal? Can't companies make mistakes? Yes, they can. But it's the type of mistakes that you make and how you make them, willingly or unwillingly. Are you applying? Are you adhering to regulations? Are you trying to obfuscate them? Things of that nature. But let's get into it. Because the reason I find what's going on with Boeing way more dangerous than any Fani or 45 Donald Trump story or Tiff or Pastor Bling Bling or Jamal Brown or anybody else that we can make a face of scams and corruption. Boeing is a huge problem, and Boeing needs to be on everybody's radar. Why? Well, Boeing's corruptions cost us money more ways than one. Taxpayers' funds have been given to Boeing for various reasons, from bailouts to help during COVID times. But what else do they cost? Lives. Their corruption and their mistakes and their ineptitude costs lives. So let's take a trip right quick. Let's jump in an old time machine. Let's go back to 2017, which was only 7 years ago. 2017. First, let me share this. I don't want to go here. Let's share the screen. Let's square this. Let me share this screenshot. You know what? I bet you that was Probably something that was not PC, what I just did. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it wasn't. Y'all don't get me. Y'all don't get me. That probably I'm sure that wasn't good in some circles. Let's see. Whistleblowers. What we got? Leave it to I can't we can't leave it to Beaver. We gotta leave it to Shara. Leave it to Shara with the comment. I think she was answering the question about why we don't get the same outrage and stuff with big corporations. And she like, because the whistleblowers end up dead. And I'm giggling because we've seen and heard stories of that, especially if you're in Russia. Don't whistle. Yo, no whistles in Russia. You're gonna fall out the window for sure. But yeah, let's check this out though. Let's share this screenshot right quick. Let's share this screenshot. Oh, I did. Did I share it already? Oh, maybe. Oh, there we are. There we are. Let me make me some. All right, let's check this out right quick. Then we're gonna jump in the time machine. So what we have here: Boeing was sanctioned after blatantly violating an agreement with feds over the 737 Max 9 incident. The aerospace giant disclosed investigative information to the media that the NTSB says says, not a quote. They said it. All right. A U.S. safety regulator on Thursday slapped Boeing with new sanctions and restrictions after the troubled aerospace giant blatantly violated the rules of their agreement. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, has been investigating the January 5th incident when a door plug blew off mid-flight on a Boeing 737 Max 9 jet. Boeing signed an agreement that gave access to the NTSB's information as it develops a record behind the incident. Boeing isn't allowed to share the information publicly. So then they were, I think, at the Senate hearing, and then they did share that information, and they weren't supposed to. And then and that's why they got new sanctions by the NTSB. But let's go back to why they were being investigated with this whole door plug thing blowing off. I think I have that one. I don't want it here. I'm sure there's a different screen. Yes. Door plug thingy. I'm thinking about getting you to be quiet. Yeah, before I hit skip. All right, there we go. Now, let's stop sharing that one. Share a new one. End up there. Oh, I got to see this. I got to see what Shar said right quick. Salute, Shar. Salute. Yes, please check the rest on replay because we're about to get into this Boeing stuff. We're about to get into this Boeing stuff. So, like I said, NTSB was originally investigating why this whole sanctions thing came up from this January incident where a door came off of one of their planes. So let's check it out.
Breaking news right now.
Hey, Austin here with the latest on that Alaskan Airlines midair scare. Lots of new developments here overnight in this.
That's right. The NTSB releasing, in fact, these new pictures, part of their investigation into what caused a window panel to blow out mid-flight. The agency now announcing that a plug covering an unused exit door has been found in someone's backyard. Now, it could be a vital discovery, and new this morning, the chair of the NTSB is calling on a major rule change to voice recorders and communication between the pilots and flight crew in the back.
Yeah, we want to know what y'all
They need to know what's going on in the cabin, so that communication needs to occur. They have to know how quickly they need to land. And if that communication is not recorded, that is unfortunately a loss for us, and a loss for FAA, and a loss for safety.
Now, the videos from inside the plane circling on social media here are downright frightening. This Boeing 737 Max 9 was just 16 minutes into the ride from Oregon to California when a door plug blew off. Now, according to the Associated Press, the gaping hole seen there on the side of the plane was opened when the aircraft maker, where an aircraft maker fits a plug to cover an emergency exit that the airline does not use. The FAA grounding all of the types of 737 Max 9s involved until it's, quote, satisfied that they are safe.
Okay. Things happen, right? That was January. But why is that alarming that a window panel blew off in January on this Boeing plane, 737 Max? Why? Why? Because the whole fleet got grounded in 2017 when that stupid plane got unveiled from the get-go with some crazy navigation thing that was tilting. I ain't gonna talk about it. Let's go back. Let's hop in the time machine. Let's go back and remember, like the lion in the flight in Ethiopia flight. Let's do it. If I can click the right bookmark, we'll do it. Jeez. Well, I'm gonna finally stop skipping. There we go. There we go. Let's check it out. Don't want that. I was not sharing my screen, that's why. All right. Let's check you out.
Wonder about the tragic incident that was the crash of Lion Air Flight 610? It's a story of human error, design flaws, and one of the most significant wake-up calls in the history of aviation. On the 29th of October 2018, Lion Air Flight 610, a Boeing 737 Max 8, took off from Jakarta, Indonesia, bound for Pangkal Pinang. This was not just any flight, nor any airplane. The Boeing 737 Max was a new generation aircraft designed to compete with the Airbus A320neo series. It boasted larger, more fuel-efficient engines and a new system called the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or MCAS for short. MCAS was designed to adjust the aircraft's angle of attack to prevent stalling by pushing the nose down if the aircraft was flying at too high an angle. This system, however, would prove to be a crucial factor in the events that unfolded. Shortly after takeoff, the pilots encountered erroneous data from the angle of attack sensors.
Erroneous.
The very sensors that fed information to the MCAS. The confused MCAS, in response to the false data, activated and began pushing the nose of the plane down. The pilots, unaware of the malfunction and without sufficient training on the MCAS, wrestled with the controls, struggling to maintain altitude. Despite their best efforts, the pilots could not regain control. 13 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft plummeted into the Java Sea, taking all 189 souls on board with it. The subsequent investigation revealed a tragic blend of factors that led to the crash. The AOA sensors had provided incorrect data, triggering an erroneous response from the MCAS.
And then let me guess, the pilot error on this brand new plane that I'm not going to get into that because I didn't pull the videos for it, but I remember watching this back in 2017 when this first came out. It was my understanding almost all the airlines had rush jobs on training for this new airplane that was getting released in the first place. But I'm sure that's the human error part. But why did what was wrong with these sensors that they fed wrong information to the stupid MCS thing in the first place? And I get it. The pilots should have known that part of the troubleshooting is that this sensor could have been given an erroneous information. And I guess maybe at that point they could have disconnected the MCS. I don't know what they were supposed to do, I guess, besides wrestling on the sticks.
The pilots had not been adequately trained on the system, and Boeing had not provided enough information about it. The MCAS itself was found to be flawed in design, relying on a single AOA sensor and lacking redundancy. This tragedy sent shockwaves through the aviation industry. Criticism and scrutiny fell on Boeing for their handling of the MCAS, and their communication with airlines and regulators. The 737 MAX was grounded worldwide in March of 2019, following a second fatal crash involving the same model operated by Ethiopian Airlines. The grounding lasted over a year, leading to substantial financial losses for Boeing and disruptions for airlines. But it also led to changes.
And it also led to bailouts. We'll get to that later.
Software updates were made to the MCS. Pilot training was enhanced and modifications were made to the aircraft's flight control systems. The Lion Air Flight 610 crash was a stark reminder of the importance of safety in aviation. It led to a reevaluation and reform of aviation safety regulations and oversight processes, with the aim of preventing such a...
And the only reason I'm stopping this right now is because they're talking about regulations, and by this being a political and social channel, and by me being an independent, a lot of times I'll talk about things on both sides of the aisle. But this is one of those instances where the word regulation doesn't have to be a bad thing. And I know a lot of times, you know, some of my brothers and sisters on the right, you know, they haven't met a regulation that was in need. Like all regulations are bad, and they're here to stifle and handcuff businesses. But a lot of times they're here for public safety, and this is one of those cases.
A tragedy from happening again. In conclusion, the Lion Air Flight 610 crash was a tragic blend of technical failure, inadequate training, and design flaws. It served as a grim reminder of the importance of safety in aviation and led to significant reforms in the industry.
Okay. And then
is air travel truly
Ethiopia
as safe as we believe?
So let's check it
Or
out.
perhaps the better question to ask is, how reliable is modern aircraft technology? Today, we dive into the tragic story of the Ethiopian Airlines Boeing 737 MAX crash, a stark reminder of the potential pitfalls of cutting-edge technology. On the morning of March 10th, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines...
And really right quick, if you remember this, you remember this. And I'm sure you're like, why am I spending time letting them re-show what happened on the Lions flight and the Ethiopia flight? Because I wanted to set in what Boeing just was going through 7 and 5 years ago when they were grounded, like he said, for an entire year, to be where we are right now with this airline.
Flight 302 took off from Addis Ababa Bole International Airport, destined for Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, Kenya. The aircraft, a newly introduced Boeing 737 MAX 8, was part of Boeing's latest iteration of its highly successful 737 line. This new line boasted larger, more fuel-efficient engines, which were placed higher and more forward on the wings, altering the aircraft's aerodynamics and handling characteristics. But just months before the Ethiopian Airlines tragedy, on October 29, 2018, the world witnessed a similar accident. Lion Air Flight 610, another Boeing 737 MAX 8, crashed into the Java Sea shortly after takeoff from Jakarta, Indonesia. The crash claimed all 189 lives on board. Investigations into the Lion Air crash revealed a malfunction in the aircraft's Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or MCAS, a flight control feature designed to automatically adjust the aircraft's angle of attack. Erroneous sensor data caused the MCAS to repeatedly push the aircraft's nose down, leading to the disastrous crash. In the aftermath of the Ethiopian Airlines crash, investigators quickly noticed chilling similarities between the two incidents. The erratic altitude changes and fluctuations in airspeed were eerily familiar. Suspicions arose that the MCAS system, once again, played a fatal role. The global aviation community reacted swiftly. Aviation authorities worldwide grounded all Boeing 737 MAX aircraft.
Grounded, okay? We remember what happened with that. Same thing. Ethiopian flight, Lion flight, we remember that, okay? 2017, 2018, 2019, they grounded them for a year. Okay, let's get your stuff together. This plane's not ready. Cost lives. People weren't adequately trained. Let's ground them. Okay? We ground them. They're going to take losses at that point because they're grounded. 2020 comes, COVID, whole airline industry is now hitting it. Now nobody's traveling or whatever like that. So because of failures on their own part with this failed aircraft that couldn't stay in the air, and then for reasons that they had no control over, which was, of course, like I was saying, the pandemic. Bailouts came a-coming for Boeing. Again, one for a reason that was out of their control, COVID, but this failed airline, a failed product, a failed attempt at business, that was all on them. Plenty of automakers are going, EV automakers, Fisher and some of these guys, they come and go, but for some reason, that whole too big to fail thing's going on despite the incompetence and seemed corruption. But anyway, this is what happened after the pandemic. Senate aid package quietly carved out billions intended for Boeing. Officials say, when was this? March 25th, 2020. Lawmakers have inserted into the Senate's $2 trillion stimulus package a little noticed provision aimed at providing billions of dollars in emergency assistance to Boeing, the aerospace giant already under fire for deadly safety lapses in its commercial jets. 3 people with knowledge in internal deliberations said. Senate's package includes $17 billion in federal loan program for the businesses deemed critical. They're deemed critical to maintaining national security. Boeing, an airplane place, and aerospace as well. But they had to have this money because they were marked as critical to maintaining national security. So, okay, fine. It was the pandemic. Everybody needed to get stimulated that were in sectors that were heavily affected. The airlines sector was heavily affected. Fine, we get it. But then, like you say, you fast forward to January now. After you had those instances when you launched this plane and was grounded for a year, you received bailout packages from the taxpayers vis-a-vis the Senate. And in January of this year, you got a window suck out. What are y'all doing over at Boeing? And why is it that you guys keep maintaining these government contracts and these bailouts? You're too big to fail situations. Why? You seem to be more trouble than you're worth. What else is going on? What is this? June 17th, USA Today. Southwest Airlines, Boeing 737 Max. 737 Max. 737 Max. It should be the men, because it seems like they put minimum down materials and know-how into the plane. But anyway, 737 Max sustained substantial damage from a Dutch roll incident. Southwest, y'all got to get rid of these planes. A Southwest airline jet was damaged during the flight last month after it experienced an unusual maneuver called a Dutch roll. Flight 746 was en route to Phoenix from Oakland on May 25th, and the flight at 34,000 feet. And the flight was flying at 34,000 feet when the incident occurred. According to Federal Aviation, FAA, the plane sustained substantial damage to its tail section as a result of a maneuver. Although it was able to complete the flight, the damage was discovered only during a post-flight inspection. The rudder standby power control PCU was damaged. The standby PCU is a backup system in case the main rudder power unit becomes inoperable. No injuries were reported as a result of the maneuver. So why did they have to make the maneuver? And okay, let's see what the NTSB says. The NTSB Vehicle Recorder Laboratory in Washington has received data downloaded from the plane's digital flight recorder. Data from the recorder will aid investigators in determining the length and the severity of the event, the agency said in an email statement. The cockpit voice recorder, which was currently limited to 2 hours of audio, was overwritten and unavailable to investigators. A preliminary report expected within 30 days of the date event. What is a Dutch roll? Instead of reading all these words, let's just look at it. Okay, nice. Plane was doing that. Plane was doing that. And it tore the PCU off or tore it up. Cool. Cool. June 17th. What else we got here? What else we got here? In the month of June, after being grounded, after the bailouts, after y'all supposed to have y'all ish together, and then the windows blew out in freaking January. Dutch rolls in June. What else we got in June? Is this June? Yes, it is. It's June 24th. This is 6 days ago. This is 6 days ago. A Korean Air Boeing plane dropped 25,000 feet in 5 minutes. Wouldn't you like to have been on that plane? Wouldn't you love to have been on that plane? The flight returned from South Korea after problems with the pressurization system. The Korean Air Boeing 737 Max 8 this time. But as we say, dare we say minimum? The 737 Min 8 headed to Taiwan had to return to South Korea after dropping 25,000 feet in 5 minutes, about 30 minutes after takeoff on Saturday. Business Insider and Yonhap News Agency report. You gonna tell us why it happened? Business Insider. We're carefully cooperating. Yep, y'all don't know yet. They don't know yet. Let's see what he said though. Last week, outgoing, and that's all they do. Really, to be honest, that's all that happens in these things. They just keep changing front men and CEOs. Here's your severance package. You hit the door for taking it on the chin for this one, and then the next guy rolls up. But whatever. Last week, outgoing Boeing CEO David Calhoun testified before the Senate that the company is making progress in improving its quality control procedures because they're butt right now. Like what almost fell off your plane during the Dutch roll. And then in this one, dropping 25,000 feet. Let's see what this said. Yonhap reported that 15 passengers suffered from eardrum pain and hyperventilation during the descent, which 13 went to the hospital, citing information from the Ministry-led Infrastructure and Transportation. Almost busted my eardrums, dropping 25,000 feet in 5 minutes. All right, what else Boeing got going on this month? Surely there's nothing else. Surely there's nothing else. What we got here? Oh, that's loud. All right, what we got else we got going on with our boy? In the month of June, just June, besides the window sucking thing, that was in January. Korea drops. Then we got, wow, this is something else. Another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. Southwest. Yo, people, pay attention. Who's got to see? But I'm not even gonna lie. I fly a lot of United now, and United's got a lot of them too. I mean, I'm just sorry. A lot of folks like to pick at Frontier and Spirit, but they buy Airbuses. And they don't seem to be having these 737 problems. But anyway, nope, get out of here. Southwest Boeing 737 men inexplicably dives, flies below 500 feet over the neighborhood. I thought it was going to hit my house. Bro, this person said I thought it was going to hit my house. A Southwest Airlines commercial plane inexplicably dived while landing in Oklahoma City, flying less than 500 feet over residential neighborhoods, setting off altitude alarms and frightening residents. The dangerous low flight of Southwest Flight 4069 from Las Vegas was recorded by the transponders and caught the notice of air traffic controllers. Shortly after midnight, the Boeing 737-800 passed by Yukon High School after it was cleared to get out of here with this non-responsive. Wait, okay, got it. Didn't see that because I was reading. Past Yukon High School after it was cleared to land at Will Rogers Airport in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City reporter. All right, the commercial airplane eventually landed. Stop doing that. Eventually landed safely after it regained altitude and circled around the airport. Yeah. Officials confirmed that the plane missed the approach when it first tried to land. The too close to comfort flying by nearby homes had locals rattled. So was this pilot error or did something just happen? Because it said they missed the air thing. Okay, Southwest is following a robust safety management system and is in contact with the FAA to understand and address irregularities with their aircraft's approach to the airport, according to a spokesperson. So this one might have been pilot error. I don't know. It seemed like something was going on with their approach. So I'm not going to blame this one on Boeing. It seems like this one might not have been Boeing. So let's see what else Boeing has going on in the month of June. In the month of June, this one is funny because, come on, man. Yep.
Out of notice, of course.
This was funny because somebody is stuck in space fooling with Boeing. Why is Boeing going into outer space when they can't keep planes in the air, in our atmosphere? I have no idea. But let's check this story out right quick because I just don't understand.
This is no place to run into technical trouble. That's exactly what happened to Boeing's Starliner, 400 kilometers above Earth, attached to the International Space Station, and stuck there for now.
And you really don't want things to go wrong in that kind of extreme environment.
Starliner's first crew was all smiles when they docked at the space station in early June.
We're just happy as can be to be up in space.
But this week, NASA announced it's delaying their return to Earth until at least June 26th. Starliner has suffered 4 helium leaks and 5 failures of its thrusters. NASA wants time.
Dude, this is space, and to be honest, I don't know if he was joking. He was probably for real. Elon's like, he'll go get him. SpaceX will go get him. But dog, they talking about leaks. Like, why does this sound like par for the course, yo? Y'all planes do this stuff.
5 failures of its thrusters. NASA wants time to figure out what's wrong.
We want to give our teams a little bit more time to look at the data, do some analysis, and make sure we're really ready to come home.
That means Starliner will spend at least 20 days in orbit for what was supposed to be just a 5-day mission, rocketing up the embarrassment for the beleaguered Boeing and its troubled space program.
Let's get going.
Troubled all program.
The launch of this mission was scrubbed multiple times by technical problems. In 2019, the first uncrewed Starliner flight failed to reach proper orbit. The whole program is over a year behind schedule and $1.5 billion over budget.
I think what we're really seeing with the difficulties Boeing is having relative to SpaceX, the problem is they've lost a lot of capability.
PMA 2 into Starliner.
The good news, the problems don't impact the parts of Starliner needed for the perilous re-entry into Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah, you think
and
I'm
the
going to
ship
count
could
on
theoretically spend up to 45 days in space if problems persist. Those delays are really a problem for the engineers back on Earth. For the astronauts, it means a little more time to sit back and enjoy the view. Jackson Prosco, Global News, Washington.
And my best Shannon Sharp, nope. Skill, nope. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't care what you feel about Elon. I'm like, yeah, bro, come get me. I would not trust my re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere to freaking Boeing. Would not.